Gonzo is wearing a dress? Really? On this bonus episode of Indie Thinker. All right, before we jump into the episode today, I want to mention you have probably heard by now that when unemployment benefits end, especially if Biden lets them, as a result of COVID, many people are no longer going to be able to afford the homes that they just recently purchased, which means it's very possible that the housing market is going to turn back into a buyer's market. So that means you need to go get pre-qualified right now so that you can buy tomorrow. So go get pre-qualified with my friend Kevin Blair over at Element Funding. You can go to kevinblairteam.com to do that. Not only will you get Class A customer service that you'll likely not find at a big bank, but you'll also be supporting a business that supports the things that you care about. So what are you waiting on? Go check them out today. All right, so before I jump into what we're talking about today, I just want to be really clear. I am well aware of the fact that even when I was a kid, there was some crazy stuff on TV like this.
Well, then you should make sure the playhouse is fire safe.
Well, how do we do that, Fireman Frank?
Conduct fire drills to make sure everyone knows where and how to exit the house quickly in the event of a fire. And you should have smoke detectors placed throughout your home to warn you of the presence of smoke or fire.
I have a smoke detector in my bedroom, over my bed.
So look, I grew up in the 80s, and I'm kind of shocked by some of the stuff that passed as kids shows even back then. But I can't help but see a bit of a difference and a need to address it with things that are going on today. So here is a recent Muppet Babies episode.
Wow. Get a load of that dress! I'd love to wear a dress like that to your royal ball.
But Gonzo, Piggy and I are the princesses. We wear the dresses.
That's right. According to the royal handbook, the girls come as princesses and the boys come as knights.
Oh, right.
There you are. You missed our royal ball.
We met the most amazing princess, but they ran away, and all they left behind was this.
Everyone, there's something I need to tell you. The princess who came to your ball tonight was me. I'm Gonzarella.
But Gonzo, why didn't Vu tell us?
Because you all expected me to look a certain way. I don't want you to be upset with me, but I don't want to do things just because that's the way they've always been done either.
All right, so first off, I just want to say, I know there are people who are going to say, why talk about this? And because
we'll convert your children. Someone's got to teach them not to hate. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children.
Now realize that was intended to be a joke. It's also like the worst joke in the history of jokes ever on the planet Earth. So, but within that clip is things that they throw around, buzzwords that they throw around, like accepting and all these other things. And I'm just so tired of the claim of intolerance because somebody disagrees with you. It's just a tactic to shut down conversation. And on this show, I want to examine claims outside of pure emotion and look at the facts. So what are the facts with this clip of Muppet Babies? Is it just observation that they're doing, or are they doing conditioning upon children? Some would argue that this episode of Muppet Babies is just a descriptive of normal childhood behavior. Kids play dress up all the time, and if kids are not influenced by anybody, they look at G.I. Joe fatigues as the same as a princess dress. It's just make-believe to them, children are a blank slate, and gender is really just a construct. Kids have no apprehension of their innate biological sex and the differences associated with it. So that's one claim. And that's quite an audacious claim. And that's why I want to tackle this. Most parents know this to be experientially false because boys are basically little seek and destroy machines and girls are the exact opposite. I have 2 boys, so I see this all the time. But more importantly, fundamental claims on human nature are being made so flippantly all the time now on social media and beyond that they demand that we do more than just promote a stance of intellectual cowardice. We need to discuss, and by the way, this is especially for my Christian audience. Disagreement is not unloving, and to be dishonest is not kindness. Our voice matters on crucial topics, but we have been playing defense for so long that we've forgotten how to play offense. So many of us don't think we know what to say, or we don't know, we don't want to be viewed, as as intolerance. So most Christians cower behind platitudes like just preach about Jesus and forget all this other stuff. But you don't really believe that. You go to church every single Sunday, and you go there to hear sermons that are not just purely about Jesus, but you also hear sermons that are about discipling you to live a Christian life. I think rather we're just afraid because cowardice comes so naturally to us all, and we should, especially in our camp, fight against those tendencies. So let's examine this claim. Children have no innate sex differences, and programs like Muppet Babies is just descriptive and not attempting to condition children against these innate tendencies. So I want to point you to Gad Saad, and he is a PhD professor of evolutionary psychology at Concordia University, and he has done extensive research on the subject. By the way, I'll be doing a book review of his recent book, The Parasitic Mind, fantastic book. You can access that exclusive content by becoming a subscriber and by signing up for our email list. Just go to indiethinker.org, scroll down until you see where you can sign up for updates, fill in your name and your email, and then you're off for the races. So here's what Gad Saad had to say about toy differences in children. First off, he's going to take you to Sweden, which is supposedly the utopia for gender neutrality.
Let's move on to Sweden, the land where sexes have ceased to exist. There are no longer males and females. It is now strictly a gender-neutral society. Sweden is the most feminine and most gender equal of 50 countries tracked by Geert Hofstede, who's a very famous cross-cultural psychologist. So there is no culture that scores more gender-neutral than Sweden. If anything, the government has gone out of its way. The public policy in Sweden has been to systematically eradicate gender markers. For example, when it comes to linguistic gender markers, get rid of those pesky gender specific terms and come up with gender neutral pronouns, because you don't want to socialize kids into thinking that they're little boys or little girls. So this is the perfect natural field experiment to test whether in the culture where sexes have ceased to exist, whether the toy preferences somehow are affected by this wonderful utopia. So Nelson in 2005, 10 years ago, inventoried actual toys that were present in the rooms of Swedish boys and Swedish girls. Now here we're talking about over 40,000 toys. And guess what he found? I hope it's a he. I can't remember if it's a he or she. But then again, why does it matter? There are no sexes. Guess what? Exact same toy preference as anywhere else. So despite the concerted effort to get rid of these pesky things like male and female, it turns out that little Swedish boys and little Swedish girls tend to have the exact same sex-specific toy preferences. It is really looking bad for the socialization, folks. Let's move on.
All right, now he's going to take you to non-Westernized cultures, because you might say, oh, well, this is just a Western thing, and so that's why. So now he's going to look at non-Westernized cultures.
What happens in profoundly different cultures from those in the West? Maybe you might think, well, this is because it's the sexist toy marketing firms that are doing this. Well, Rossi, a French anthropologist, I believe he's French, did an extensive analysis of dolls and doll play among peoples of Saharan and North African regions, and they are very, very much tied to their heritage. Now let me just, I'm going to, even though you can all read it, I'm going to mention the number of different cultures that he studied. So look how exhaustive this is. So the Tuareg, the Ghrib, the Moors, the Sahrawi, the Regebat, the Sha'amba, the Tada, the Belballa, the inhabitants of Saoura Valley, the Mozabites, the Kabils, the Shawi'a, I think that's how you pronounce it, the populations of the Moroccan countryside, and the town dwellers of Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. And I've provided you here, by the way, with the photo of the book where he reports all this. And what are the key findings that he comes up with? It is mainly girls who play with dolls, and female dolls are much more common than male dolls. So again, replicating some of the findings that we see in endless other cultures.
And then finally, you may even say to yourself, well, maybe it's just a modern phenomenon, but of course, Gad Saad is going to take that away from you as well, and he's going to go back and look at ancient history here. So check this out.
What if we go back several thousand years ago to ancient Greece and see whether children there seem to exhibit these sex-specific toy preferences? Well, guess what happens if you look at funerary monuments where children are depicted. Oh Lord, this is not looking good. By the way, I've shown you here a copy of the cover of that book. Boys are shown with wheels and girls were depicted with dolls.
Friends, gender is not socially constructed. Boys prefer to play with boy toys and girls with girl toys. This Muppet Babies thing can therefore only be viewed as an attempt to normalize certain behaviors in your kid. And you have to decide if that's okay for your children. And shows like this are trying to normalize aberrant behavior in boys that usually only happens when a female sibling or a female friend comes along to play with a boy. But here's the real point in all this. You may not believe the overwhelming evidence just presented, and that's fine. But only if you have other fact-based evidence to refute it. And that's the point. All over social media, you see people upholding deeply held beliefs. All of this is undergirded by a strong emotional connection to whatever the topic may be, and facts get pushed aside. And we have to stop that. So 100%, listen more than you speak, but absolutely speak up and don't be afraid to engage. And when you do it on the basis of truth. And do it not simply because you want to be proven right, but because you believe that healthy conversations, even when there's disagreements, makes our world a better place. People can respect an honest person, even if they disagree with them. But no one that sidesteps the truth because they're afraid of telling people what they really think will ever be respected. So as always, you can find the sources for the things that we kind of cited today down below. While you're down there, please make sure to comment. I would love to hear what you think about this Muppet Babies clip and the messaging it's trying to promote. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch brand new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Huberman every Monday and weekly bonus episodes to keep you thinking throughout the week. But you have to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes drop. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and share it with friends.